I wanted to kind of go through a little bit of my tracking system and how I keep track of clients and keep track of prospects, etc. And so I would like you guys on the call to just take a snapshot of this stuff because I can't really email it to you. But you can take a snapshot and you can kind of create these fields yourself if you'd like. Okay. Now, the system I use here is Google Drive. And I also use a CRM, which is Redtail, and now we're moving into Salesforce. But I also like using Google Drive. And so if you don't know how to use Google Drive, you can go to YouTube and type in how to use Google Drive, and you're going to have about 100,000 videos to teach you how to use Google Drive. But I really like using it because when I wake up in the morning, this is the first thing that pops up on my screen. And this is my cookbook, so to speak. This is what I'm looking at every single day to be tracking my business and who I should be talking to. And I think if you're brand new in the business, these are the kind of habits you need to build. I did something just like this right when I got started, but it was all on paper. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years. And I think that's what's been able to help me with my consistency more than anything, is just by tracking your business. Because if you don't have a game plan, you don't have something to follow every day, you're just going to be a nomad running around with your head cut off. Okay. So what I did here is I built multiple tabs down here, and you're going to see what I did here and why I did that. But I used to separate these out into different spreadsheets, and it was just too much to go from one to another. And you'll see how this kind of flows. Okay. But I guess I'll start with my prospect list, and this is my market list that I'm working with all the time. And it's pretty simple. I just put the name, phone number, email. A lot of times I don't put that in here if I already have it. But I deleted a lot of this stuff for this call. Potential business that I'm working on with this, AUM that's coming up for something like this, or for that particular client if I'm going to be putting assets under management. And AUM, the same thing, is just opening like a mutual fund. It's almost the same thing, just a little bit different. My contact dates, my contact method, how am I reaching out to them, my meeting dates, and I've deleted some of the stuff, meeting date completed. But then the most important thing on here is your notes. And I always start with the date that I talked, or that I called them, what we talked about, so on and so forth. And so every day when I'm looking through my market list, I'm constantly looking through my notes and see what do I need to follow up on, where are we at in the process with this person, etc. But once I become a client, then I just go back over to new accounts. And this is this year's new account. So this was January's client list of families that I helped out. And I put everything in here from 401k rollovers to insurance to whatever. And so just date, last name, first name, is it continued business? And I do that because my assistant sends out thank you cards for me. Now, if you don't have an assistant, you need to be sending out thank you cards for each client that you help out. And it's not just an email, but it's a handwritten note that we just go to TJ Maxx or whatever store and pick up thank you cards and just write out a nice thank you card for doing business. And if they're an existing client and they're doing something new with me, I just wrote, hey, thank you for continuing to trust me with your business. I know this plan we just put in place will work well for you now and in the future. Looking forward to continue to work with you. But I'm telling you, that little touch, that little handheld note has paid huge dividends for me. And I've been doing that since day one. And I don't know if that was something I heard on stage, or I don't know. I just felt like that's the ethical thing to do, is to send a thank you code or note. I mean, they're entrusting me with $50 a month or $100,000 that they probably deserve a thank you note. And just ask yourself, when's the last time you received a thank you note from anybody that you did business with? I mean, my property and casualty lady, she never calls me, never sends me a thank you. I just send her a referral. I mean, no call whatsoever. Love her, but those little touches mean all the difference in the world. Okay. Next one is, were meds done, right? You need to be tracking that. Did the money transfer over? Did you send the thank you card, etc.? The company, the product, face amount, what kind of AUM money was moved over, policy number if you want to put that in, your points, did you split it, personal points and team points. So total points on the case, you'd work with your trainer on that to maybe determine which product pays what as far as points go. And did you write it 100% to yourself, or did you split it with somebody, et cetera. So this is something I use. This is great because you can always be, every Monday, it's really important to be pulling this up and just seeing where you're at with all your pending business. Mike Palmieri talked about that. He's just an animal about that. And I think it's so important to stay on top of your business. It's very easy to write something up, but following through and making sure it gets through, review desk, or gets through approval process, either at Nationwide or Transamerica. So important to stay on top of that. Nobody cares more about your business than you, okay? So very important. Now, next thing, this is really big, and this is kind of what I wanted to spend some time on talking about, and then I'll turn it back over to Anthony here. But is just going through here, I wanted to show you, I'll just start with December. So what I did here is, you can see down below, January through December, I have, every month I know exactly who I need to be reaching out to for their review. So let's say you're brand new in the business, you just got your license, or you've been around for a while, and you help somebody out this month. So let's just say it's April. You would put them in your April review list here. And so I just put in when they've been a client since, their phone number, email, what account they have with us. So when I'm doing the review or I'm calling them up, I can say, okay, I got to check this website for that, or I got to check this website for this, or my staff can pull them up. When I've sent them emails, and then any notes, I've reached out to them. So what I like to do, and I'm not going to be able to pull it up here, but if you go to Campaign Manager, I put every month that, so like for December, all these particular clients, I've built a group for December reviews. So every December, this group gets an email saying it's time for your review. So I start off with, at the first of the month, they get an email from me saying, hey, it's time for a review, or our tactical and strategic meeting to go over your accounts, whatever. And if they don't respond, then I'll call them, and I'll call them a second time, and maybe I'll call them even a third time. But then I just document that I've reached out to them. And a lot of times what will happen is that people making fun of me on this chat, it looks like it. You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, bud.
Everyone's trying to reach me on my FaceTime and everything. So anyway, so every time you get a new client for that month, you just add them in for that particular month. So I will just go back here and I'll show you this. Let's see. Yeah, so we're in March right now. Oh, no, I don't want to show that. Okay, so like I said, so the reason why I do this is because, one, you want to keep in contact with your clients, but you'd be surprised how many of them you forgot to like talk about maybe TransAlpha, or you forgot to talk about, or if you talked about LegalZoom, or not LegalZoom, Net Law, right? Doing their wills, etc. Something that Shantae talked about in the beginning right now, because of what's going on with the coronavirus, is calling up all these clients. And if you have them organized like this, you can just go through each and every month and say, hey, listen, I'm just reaching out to you. Just want to know if there's anything that can help you with it this time. I know times are challenging. The thing that I've added to my calls though, is, hey, who do you know right now that is struggling right now, or is concerned about their retirement because of the market downturn? People are having conversations that they weren't having 2 months ago when the market was rallying over the last 11 years. And so people are listening right now. So I think it's important, if you can get yourself organized, even if you only put in 2 or 3 people on each month, it's a start. But it's these types of habits that you build now will pay huge dividends down the road. I'm not the greatest at finding new clients all the time. I'm just really good at servicing the ones that I have. And by doing that year over year, I've just been able to accumulate a lot more clients, and I'd be able to maintain the relationships. And if you have a vision for yourself one day to become a Series 65 rep and build an AUM business, the only reason I was able to get the AUM I got is because of all of this, what I've done over the years. And so when I got my 65, it was very easy for me to just go and talk to them about a different option, right? Another option that they could add. And because I kept seeing them every year, it was always like, hey, I trust you. You talk to me every year. You've been reviewing my accounts or servicing me, whatever you decide. But if you only talk to them once when you put the policy in place and you haven't talked to them in 5 years, there's no trust built there. There's no trust whatsoever. And so I think if you want to do it right and have a sustainable business long term, you got to do things like this or a version of this. So, Anthony, I'm sorry I probably talked too long there. I just got a couple minutes before we end. I don't know if you had a question for me.
Hey man, that was awesome. You know what's great about webinar? You can log off anytime you want, so you can stay on as long as you want as well. And obviously, you're sharing 20 years of wisdom here. And now, I mean, I just love the pictures with all that hair, man. That's all I remember. But no, I'm kidding. Hey, it was an awesome training. I think all of us can improve upon our ability to be organized, track everything. My question too is just simply like during the tough times, like what was driving you? Like why? I mean, you had all these people against you. I mean, what was the thing that kept you going? Was there anything particular? Was it one thing? Was it a bunch? I mean, just curious what drove you all these years now to, what do you got, about 20 million under management or something like that? I mean, what was the driving force to help you develop yourself?
Well, I think because I had my own business before and I just love the idea of not working for someone. I guess I just never wanted to go have a job, right? And I always looked at this business as it's a game we play. It's just really a big game, right? And I love the challenge of the business, but I also just love my clients and I love people and I love talking to them and I enjoy that. And so I really do it because what's really kept me going during those bad, tough times was just that everyone I met, no one's ever talked to them before about their money, right? I think I can count on my hands how many people I met with that had an advisor before they met me and were super happy. I mean, if you think about it, we have really no competition whatsoever because of the markets that we work in. We don't have any competition. If we were working with markets where people had $1 million plus and that was all their only clientele, we would have tons of competition. But because we work with middle market, we don't have any challenges. We don't have any challenges like that. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'd want to work with that bigger or that higher end market just because there's not a lot of loyalty there. So I think that's what kind of kept me going is that I knew that there was always a market for this and there was always a need. And every time I talked to somebody, I felt like I was fulfilling something. I was filling a gap in their life. And now it's become quite personal because a lot of my clients are just really good friends with me. I mean, I call up and we talk, and it's like you talk for like 2 minutes about business, and everything else is about what have you been up to. So I don't know, Anthony. I think just always just wanting to get better. I think is what just kept me in the business is just wanting to get better, and to this day I'm always wanting to get better at the business and just becoming more efficient with it. And so, but it's the only business I know where, you can put 25 million under management and make $14,000 a month every month without having to do anything. I mean, of course you got to service your clients, but at a time like this, you're making $14,000 a month on your own book without having to put another client on the books or even no growth on the account, right? So I think it's just, it's fun. For me, it's a fun business.
Awesome. And I mean, I'm looking at your spreadsheet here. I mean, a lot of insurance business in there. I mean, you got a very diversified book and it's powerful. But what I heard was the mission. I heard that you love the business because you love the mission, and the business gives you purpose, right? It's all about having a purposeful driven life. There's a lot of people out there that do make a lot of money, but they have no purpose in what they do. It doesn't give them passion. It's not something they're excited. It's just about the game of making money. And here you have that, not for everybody, but if you can have that, what I notice is the people that stay with us and stick through this industry and stay in this business are the ones that love helping people and they love this industry. It's a combination of those things. And of course, the freedom, there's nothing like it.